Today's video is sponsored by Ekster Wallets. In today's rapidly expanding world, wallets have been an accessory that for the longest time never made any changes to their overall style. What they look like now is how they've looked for over 50 years. But one company has decided to break the mold and release a line of not only sleek looking wallets, but also more convenient for the new world. Ekster is home to the smartest wallets available. Being highly acclaimed from companies like Forbes and Business Insider, their wallets do more than just hold your credit cards and cash. All of their wallets, from more traditional looking billfolds to newer minimalist designs, come with built-in RFID blocking, so no clever criminal will be getting access to your credit card information. On top of that, many of Ekster's wallets come equipped with a quick card trigger, which allows all cards to quickly be accessed. The designs of Ekster's wallets come in both leather for a more natural and traditional feel, and aluminum for a sturdier and sleeker design. Each wallet can hold up to 15 cards, so it's perfect for practically anybody. And not only does Ekster make wallets, but also laptop sleeves, iPhone cases, key holders, and tracker cards for your wallet. Ekster was kind enough to send me one of their aluminum wallets, and I was really impressed with just how solid and professional it feels and looks. I have been using it for about a month now, and I have no interest in going back to my old leather wallet. Act now and take advantage of their 4th of July sale, where you can get a 25% off discount, and on top of that, use my link in the description box below for an additional 5% off. That's a 30% discount along with a free money clip for your first purchase. Now, on to the video. There are many times in our lives where we feel that our paranoia is anything but that. We make mental checklists to ourselves that tell us what we are thinking or imagining is in the realm of reality and not just in our mind getting the better of us. It is something I have done numerous times just to prove that my sanity hasn't broken, yet at least. And while I was doing some research on an upcoming video, I came across a Reddit post that caught my attention rather quickly. I wanted to make a video on it because I felt it needed to be shared, not as a means of entertainment, but to tell everyone in this community that if you are ever in a situation where you feel something is wrong, then you should always listen to your gut. I have had numerous experiences in my life where I didn't do this, and it always ended poorly for me. So, without any more rambling, let me tell you the story of a redditor who very well could have been in a situation so dangerous and scary that you only typically see this kind of stuff in horror movies. This is the story of Throwaway22. Were people living in my attic. I am on a throwaway account, and this is for my safety. You'll find out why soon. To start this story off, I'd like to say I am not a believer of the paranormal, which could be applied to some of the details if you are an avid believer. Some disclaimers here. My area is a pretty dangerous area. A lot of gangs and stuff live here, and a lot of crime happens. My garden is surrounded by fences, the back one leads to a main road, and I suffer with audible and visual hallucinations. I have been living with my dad for around 3 years now. I have pretty intense mental health issues, so I don't know if I am being delusional and/or detaching from reality. My house is relatively outdated. We have heating that is controlled by a big flame in the center of the house that transports heat through the vents, and the majority of the house is made from wood. The floors, the stairs, which are extremely loud and creak a lot when you walk up and down them. We have 3 rooms upstairs, all connected by one hallway, and in the middle of that hallway, the entrance to the attic is on the ceiling. My father's door is directly across from mine, and the bathroom door is opposite the stairs banister. And between both of our rooms, remember that. It started off as me hearing noises. rustling around in the attic, but I figured that a bird had gotten stuck up there. That has happened before, and the majority of the noises were in the morning after I wake up and before I go to sleep. The normal times are around 7 to 9 a.m. and 10 to 11 p.m. I asked my father and he had thought the same, so I shrugged it off. Around 2 to 3 months go by, the noises are becoming more consistent and more common, but again, I shrugged it off and drowned it out with my music or YouTube videos while I was on my computer. I wouldn't let my paranoia get to me until one night I had woken up around 3 a.m. and I could have sworn that I heard footsteps above me. I heard them moving across the attic floor and I could hear where the noises were coming from and where it was located in the attic. I ran into my father's room to wake him up. I'm not sure if we had startled something up there, but the noises stopped, and my father didn't believe me. He said I was just hearing things. I mean, I do suffer from audible hallucinations and sometimes visual ones, so I again shrugged it off, as a little reassurance is all that I needed. I hadn't heard anything for a couple of weeks after that, and I'm not sure why. The morning and nightly noises were still persistent, however. We went out one day, me, my father, and my dogs. I had left my PC on, my door was slightly open, and the bathroom door was closed. I leave my door open out of habit so my dogs can roam around the house when we are home. However, they do use the bathroom in the bathroom, so we close the doors while we are at home, because we don't want them doing that. We were out for around 3 to 4 hours. We went on a nice walk, and when we got back, I headed back upstairs into my room. And the events that happened are in this order. I saw that my door was closed. It must have been a draft. But just before I go into my room, my father shouted up the stairs to me, and he was complaining that I'd left milk and a packet of meat out of the fridge. I told him that I didn't, and it wasn't me. My father is a very logical man, and he thinks there is always a logical explanation to everything. So he was confused, but he said that he must have done it himself, because I was sure that I didn't take anything out of the fridge. Before going into my room after the conversation with my father, I saw that the bathroom light was on and the door was wide open. I went to search around the bathroom, but I couldn't find anything that could necessarily be of suspicion. As I walked out of the bathroom, I had seen some paint chipped away from the banister, something that I have never noticed before. All of this could be explained as coincidence, or maybe I did close my door, open the bathroom door, leave the light on, never noticed the paint chipped away on the wooden banisters, and maybe my dad did get some stuff out of the fridge and forget to put it away. And that's how I thought at that moment. I did not want to believe that someone else was living in our house. But when I entered my room and sat down at my computer, I noticed that it was no longer on the YouTube video I had been watching, and instead on some European food website which had been translated to English. However, I cannot explain this. Other than that, my computer had no evidence of being tampered with on it, just that food website. It could have been a pop-up, but truly I don't know. Here is the link for that website. Things had escalated from there. Me and my father kept hearing weird noises in the night, and even during the days. Bangs and thuds, etc. My father goes to work 5 days a week, and he leaves around 5 a.m. and gets home around 7 p.m. I don't work, and I am home to hear everything. A lot of the times when I'm home, I hear these noises, and my dogs do too, so I know that I am not hallucinating. My dogs started sniffing and peeing around the area underneath the attic latch. I have no idea why. My dogs are 3 and 4 years old at this point, and they've never really peed in a place they haven't before, if that does make any sense. One Christmas, my dad had gone on holiday, leaving me on my own in the house for a few weeks. Probably the scariest time of my life. I'm an adult, and I should be able to defend myself, right? Well, everything was fine for the first few days. It was lovely to have some alone time. I cooked a lot, spent a lot of time with my dogs, and even made them some nice food too. I had somewhat stockpiled food into my fridge and freezer to last me for a few weeks, meaning I didn't really have to cook much, just to microwave and or defrost a day before. After I had cooked everything, one day had gone by and I noticed small things going missing from the refrigerator every day after waking up. I had these snack, bite-sized cheese wheels that I hadn't opened, but were open. Some of the food that I made was going missing, and I was running out of milk a lot faster than I could have imagined. This persisted for around 3 days before I called a friend to come and stay downstairs. I explained the situation to him, and he was more than happy to stay on the couch for a few days to somewhat protect me. He's not scared of much, and he's very strong, so he could probably fight for himself if he needed to. The very first night he was here, we did a test. We acted as if we were leaving the house and gently slammed the front door to potentially prompt whatever was in my attic to come down and have free reign of the house while we were gone. We practically tiptoed back into the center of the living room and sat in silence for about 10 minutes, whispering at most. We heard the noises extremely close to the latch of the attic, almost like a scratching noise, or someone trying to get their nails under the hatch to open it, or something. I have no idea. As my friend heard it, he stomped his foot on the ground to intimidate, assuming that there was somebody up there. Not to mention my dog started growling at this point too. I knew I wasn't just hearing things, and I had another person for proof. At this point, I was extremely terrified, and my friend, which did surprise me, was also scared. He said that he wouldn't sleep at night if he heard the noises, and said that he'd stay up all night with me if need be. I quickly responded to him saying something along the lines of, "No, we're leaving. I'm gonna pack my bags, bring the dogs, and we're going to your house." He agreed, and we left for the night. I came back the following afternoon with him to see if anything in the house had changed. There were dishes in the sink that had been used and not washed, food missing from the fridge, and I had switched off all of the electrics from the mains before I had left. PC, chargers, lamps, etc. I was sure someone was living in my house somewhere. My PC was on, but luckily I had a passcode on it, so they couldn't get in. When I recognized that all of this had happened, I called the police. They came and searched all over my house, but they didn't go into the attic. They just opened the latch and spoke up to the attic with no reply. They had no explanation for the food going missing and the computer being on, but they couldn't help apparently. I got some clean clothes, repacked, and I left. This time my friend dropped me off at my mother's, and I had stayed there for a few days with my dogs. Upon returning, one of my neighbors had caught me just as I was entering the house. They knew my father was away, and they had said, "We saw 2 people climbing over your garden fence while you were gone," meaning that they had jumped over onto the main road and made a run for it. It wasn't unusual for weird stuff to happen in my area, but that was too weird. Most of the time they hop from garden to garden if they're being chased by the police. Anyway, I went into the house, and it was in the same state as it was when I left. Nothing had changed, no food had gone missing, and these same dirty dishes were in the sink. And that was the very last that I heard of those noises. It's been almost 1 year since I've heard anything, or had anything strange happen. Everything is seemingly normal. But knowing that people could have been living in my attic, mere meters away from me, is terrifying. Please let me know what you think, because to this day I am still terrified and confused, and I lack the feeling of being safe. What would you have done? Edit. This account is no longer active. Thank you for all of your help. I've written down all of your suggestions, and I made this account for nothing else other than to ask for advice. As for criticism, I appreciate the comments, but I do not care for it. I'm only here for advice on a very specific story. I know what happened, and whether you believe it or not, it is your choice. I know that this sounds like it came straight from a creepypasta or Let's Not Meet subreddit, and to be honest, I can see why. Nobody would ever think that a person would actually be living inside of our home without us knowing. Truly, it is one of the worst situations a person could feel. Not only does it feel like this is an invasion of privacy, but it also makes us feel like a victim in our own home. To constantly be on edge and wondering if we are imagining it or if we think what we are hearing is actually real. It's one of those situations where having it all be in our heads would be the preferred outcome. There are some things that stood out to me though, that didn't make much sense. Example, if they had been dealing with this for as long as OP said, then why didn't they install a camera, or several, around the house? If OP's dad was as logical as they said, then why didn't he just go into the attic and see what was making the noise? If it were simply rodents causing the noise, then it shouldn't be anything to worry about. And logic or not, if OP knew she didn't do those things like leaving food out or keeping her computer on, and then in turn having both of those things happen, it should be a very clear indication something isn't right. And I know that people are just going to say that they were doing this simply to tell a story or get some kind of attention. But OP started the post saying that they were using a throwaway account, and at the end of the post stated that the account is no longer active. If they were just doing this for some kind of attention, then surely they would want to keep adding to it and not just leave once posting. I know there is no true way to get to the bottom of this, as the details OP gave were vague. Granted, OP did give information about the area that they lived in, that it was not a safe area, and also stating that their neighbor told them about seeing two men climbing over their fence in their yard. And while yeah, it could be them, it also strikes me as odd that two people would leave a house that isn't theirs in broad daylight. It's weird that if someone was living in the attic, that they would leave in general. Clearly, if this is true, then they had already been there for some time. They had access to shelter and food, and they may have thought the occupants of the house had no idea they were living in the attic. I guess for me, the biggest issue for me to say that this is true is the lack of OP doing anything. If I am facing a situation, I would go about it in a means to solve the problem, not just jump to Reddit. Had they taken more measures to try to find out and had no results, then sure, go on the internet and get advice, but I'm not sure. I wasn't in the situation and I can't attack them for not doing what I would have done. People act differently when being faced with something they don't understand. The whole point of me even covering it was on a whim. I felt that it was important for everyone watching this video to know that if you ever feel that you are in danger, to act instead of hesitate. Remove yourself from the problem, and if you can't, find a means to protect yourself. This post could easily be faked and nothing more. But if it were real, then it goes to show that even if we may be in our homes where we can let our guard down and relax, there still could be a potential threat near us. I'm not telling you this to scare you, but just advice that you can choose to accept or not. I care about all of you and figured this story could be an example of taking care and protecting yourself. I hope everyone did enjoy this bite-sized story. I know it isn't as long as my normal videos are, but as I said, I came across it and felt that I needed to talk about it. I am working on my normal, longer videos, and that should be out in about a week. And remember, my new series starts in July, so hopefully everyone is excited for that. As always, thank all of you for watching, and a big thank you to my patrons, including KCD, Jace, A Dumb Thought, Lena, OOD Hamhorde, Ryan93, Espeeve, Sir Tony, Skelly, Andis, Bethany, Blake, Boop, D. Wilson, Marilena Pandoja, Math Won't Miss You, Riley Brennan, and Something with Code. Remember to stay safe out there, friends. Good night.